It takes a little bit of embarrassment to hopefully address a pressing health emergency that not just Delhi, but many big cities across India are facing, which is terrible air, rising AQI levels. We faced immense embarrassment where you had the messy event in the national capital and you have the chief minister where chants of AQI resounded in the Arun Jaitley Stadium. The latest embarrassment is also the fact that in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, the South Africa versus India match was cancelled. Why? Because of smog. So are we finally taking air pollution seriously? Rajdeep, shall we begin with you?
Unfortunately, this is a country where air pollution is not a critical election or a political issue. Elections are the be-all and end-all of politics, it appears, in the age in which we live. And elections work on the rajniti of dharma and jati, caste and religion. That's how you attract people. You don't attract people by the quality of air we breathe or the water we drink. I hope it changes, but the truth of the matter is, and I like to call myself middle class, if I may be allowed to in that. The Indian
You'll get trolled for it. Don't call yourself middle class.
I'm very happy to be trolled. The Indian urban middle class has no real voice when it comes to issues like air pollution. And the poor in this country are far too concerned with basic livelihood issues to worry about the right to breathe. Their concerns are far more basic. You and I today are, may have the benefit of an air purifier that we can get. Can the poor even get that? So I think the fact is, unless there is a massive public awareness campaign, air pollution is not going to be top of the mind. It is only a seasonal issue. And I'm sorry to say, even in the media, you raise it only in November, December. I don't see Preeti Chaudhary raising air pollution in January, February, March, doing daily updates. You do weather updates. Why don't you have a pollution update?
No, 1 second. What I love is,
no, I'm glad y'all are there, but I'm
1 second, Preeti Chaudhary. What about Rajdeep Sardesai? Rajdeep, you're neither middle class, number one. Rajdeep sir, you're saying you don't have a voice. You're one of the strongest voices in the country. And you're telling me I don't carry it. Do you carry it?
I have been doing air pollution debates year
Are you doing it across the year?
Did you do it in Jan?
No, I didn't. No, I'm accepting it. No, when I say media, I'm not trying to claim I'm above it all. I mentioned you as a... across the media, we follow the news, let's be honest. Right. We follow the news. The news of pollution gets disproportionate importance in November, December because
disproportionate? What do you mean by that?
It gets the importance it deserves in November, December because AQI levels reach very severe levels, right? But we should be treating this as a round-the-year campaign. If you, and I mean you, I mean the entire media. If the entire media raised public awareness day after day, had a pollution meter, engaged with citizens, made it a media campaign, maybe it will have some effect, but I rather doubt it. Netas, I maintain, win elections on dharma and jati, not on the quality of air and water that we have around us.
Fair point, Rajdeep, because also what has happened is finally that the Delhi government has... got down from the offensive they were on. They've come out, they've apologized. The Environment Minister of Delhi, Majinder Singh Sirsa, came out and said, listen, I'm sorry, I'm going to try and do my best. Because earlier on, there was a perception, or at least, the way it conducted itself, that they were being very belligerent, saying nobody really cares, they could have gotten away with it. That's changing.
But was that an apology?
Sonal, someone who's done multiple shows on it, tell me.
So I agree. 50-50, as they say, with what Rajdeep sir said. Yes, it is not an election issue, but does that mean it should not be? Yes, we don't cover it across the year, but do we cover things like corruption across the year? Do we cover things like traffic across the year? We don't. And it should not be incumbent upon us to take the issue, forward. Politicians who have the wherewithal to deal with this issue should be able to take it. But because of this discussion and because of having done multiple debates, I have 5 reasons why pollution does not become an election mudda in this country. Number 1 is what Rajdeep already mentioned. It's because it does not matter to the poor in the country. The poor in the country, they decide the election mudda. And for them, life is so bloody hard already that they don't have time to think about air. So it will never become an election issue because they are the voting class. They decide what is to be done. Number 2, pollution kills slowly. it does not suddenly make you drop dead like COVID. So there is no immediate impact that you see of pollution. You don't see people suddenly dying on the roads like we did during COVID. So it doesn't evoke, that same sentiment. Number 3, there is no one villain when it comes to pollution. You have stubble burning, you have vehicles, you have coal, you have firecrackers, you have waste management, you have industries. There are so many things to tackle that politicians don't know where. They love to attack one mudda. Isko ye galat hai, isko theek karte hain. But they are so confused, they don't know what to do. Number 4, politicians on this issue get away because our politicians have air purifiers. Till the time the top 2-3 in the country are not coughing for pollution, because of pollution, are not facing ailments from pollution, it will not become a mudda. How many politicians did we see die because of COVID? How many people did we see? Politicians get away because they have the best medical health possible. They are secured, they are always in a clean air bubble, and it does not matter to them. And number 5, finally, there is GDP optics, but health has never been a priority in this country. GDP, development, 4th largest economy will always take priority in election mudda compared to health, which is why it is not an election mudda. But I again want to say this, just because it is not, does not mean it should not be.
No, that's quite clear. And this time around, Sneha, you've been following the parliament, you've been, doing multiple stories on this. We've seen some movement in the winter session where pollution is concerned. We've seen multiple, it might be the opposition trying to put the government on the mat on this. We've seen opposition netas wear those masks and come pushing for a debate. We've seen some, which we hadn't the last time around.
True. I think this is all because there was pressure and there was embarrassment, or else we wouldn't have even seen this, I can tell you that. It's a short duration discussion.
Do you think the trigger was, I'm sorry I'm coming in, but do you think the trigger was the action that was taken against the protesters in the national capital?
Absolutely.
Where, young kids were seen being dragged away in police vans, detained. Do you think that was somewhere down the line, the trigger?
The government didn't look good doing that, because at the end of the day, there were protests because of air pollution, and there were some other elements who came in and did what they had to. But apart from that, the embarrassment vis-a-vis the messy issue, the very fact from day one, the government was playing down the numbers, even doing a cover-up of the numbers. As we've shown clearly, the AQI figure said something. There was no uniformity going in, sprinkling water at the air monitoring stations. Doing all of that just showed that the government was completely clueless. It's the same government that went to court and said, we should be having green firecrackers during Diwali, and they got that order passed. I wanted to see, and last week we discussed it, a discussion thread bare on how we can fix the problem of dirty air in Delhi. We've had China give us, advice on how they fix this problem. Their situation is similar to ours, vis-a-vis the population, vis-a-vis the challenges that country was facing. But we have our own models. I've just come back from a shoot in Delhi. How many of us know that there are 7 biodiversity parks in Delhi that can help you bring down the AQI by 50%? I went there with a monitor to show it, that right on the streets, the AQI was 300. Inside, it was 150.
And that is where the AQI meters are installed in the national capital, also in 29 areas.
That's right.
In green
And by the
zones.
way, it's not just just to,
So we do.
this is an issue not just of Delhi anymore.
Exactly.
Look at Mumbai. I was in Mumbai earlier this week. Look at the level of sea pollution. Look at construction pollution.
Do something.
Nothing has
They
changed.
managed to do something.
No, they might have seen. That's what Mumbai managed.
No.
Mumbai is also
No, you're getting it wrong. No,
I
you're
think the
getting it
humidity
wrong.
levels
Yeah,
is
that's
what
by the
has-
sea. The wind
No.
picks up and clears.
Mumbai was 300, 400 2 weeks ago. They sent out 90 no construction notices. They cut down construction. Of course, the weather patterns helped.
It's different.
But they did
You-
take
the-
action.
Okay, I want to go to Siddharth, because Siddharth, the fact is, it's not a Delhi issue. We know that. As we
60% of the
speak
country.
right now, a match, between India and South Africa in Lucknow was put off primarily because of smog. Smog was something we didn't even know that it was actually pollution. We called it fog, but it is smog. It's across the country and it needs to be addressed.
Okay, in the
A
interest
national
of,
issue
in
rather
the
than a state
interest
issue.
of time, and I frankly don't want to speak on the politics around pollution, but what is practical to solve it. 2-3 things to keep in mind. Number one, I think we need to also be prepared that as our country grows economically, there will be more industrial output and activity Therefore, as we celebrate GDP growth, our regulatory infrastructure, frameworks and policies should also be designed to ensure that they don't have negative impacts on pollution. Pollution in India 50 years ago and pollution 50 years hence from today will also depend on the level of industrial activity. Second point, and look at the last 10 years or 15 years when this has become a mainstream issue. I don't really agree that it's not a mainstream issue. It is increasingly becoming a mainstream issue. We have all been caught, from the regulator to the judiciary, the policy maker and average citizens, and the media alone is not a stakeholder in this, is that we have chased false solutions. Episodic grab. Have you forgotten that there was...
Odd and even.
Have you forgotten that in Delhi, literally hundreds of crore were spent on a small stretch of road during Sheila Dikshit's time, and it was that bus corridor.
BRT corridors.
Why did it not take off? One, there were design issues with that, but because there is a burgeoning middle class which wants the freedom to own its car. Car ownership is linked to one's individual identity. So hang on there. So
but Siddharth, we don't have that kind of public infrastructure and public transport where a middle class person can leave their car and decide to take public transport. I'd like to take public transport, but I can't.
No, let me just complete this point. Therefore, we should not look at it as a Delhi-specific issue. I have one point of criticism with what the Delhi government has done. You just said, and it's very draconian, it impinges on the rights, because even commuters have rights, which is to say no vehicle from the NCR. Remember, NCR is not just a concept, it is almost a quasi-legal entity. You have said anything below BS6 cannot enter Delhi. Hello, are people from Faridabad, Gurgaon, Noida and other parts of this vast megapolis, don't they have rights? These are again episodic false solutions which have not yielded results. Final point really, of the 5 contributors, the key issues that are responsible for pollution, I think we need to see the failure of our river cleanup programs and therefore be realistic that if we have failed to stop pure sewerage being dumped into our rivers for years now, despite spending thousands of crore, I think it will be totally unrealistic to expect the overall system
Okay, let me get to that.
give you clean air.